What's good, y'all? Welcome to another video. I hope you guys have been enjoying the story times. Now we got one that I actually talked about on Instagram. Here is the long form of it, and it is basically about the OnlyFans substitute teacher. Now, you guys are probably reading that title, you're hearing it coming out of my mouth, and you're like, they let OnlyFans models become teachers. Anyone become a teacher these days because a lot of the qualified teachers are quitting and anyone is allowed into the classroom, right? Now, nowadays, especially depending on what state you live in, you don't really need a teacher certification in order to be a teacher. You can become a full-time teacher, the substitute route, where a lot of these schools are literally just letting substitute teachers take on full-blown classrooms without paying them or giving them the benefits. You have the route of fellowship, which is what I did. But personally, I didn't really need it because I have a bachelor's and a master's. So a lot of the times, especially like when it comes to charters, they will take you in regardless of if you have a cert or not, as long as you have a minimum of bachelor's. But if you have a master's, it just kind of like takes you up there. And then if you want to, you can become certified. It's a little bit easier when you have a master's. You have the route of honestly just being a regular Joe Smo that is passionate about teaching and just going to a school that's desperate enough, okay? And this girl fell into the line of becoming a substitute, and I can't even tell you what her goals were because this girl right here. So long story short, this story takes place when I was in that charter school in Newark. And when I tell you guys, I met some interesting people there. Some that I actually still talk to this day that I truly appreciate. And I will say this girl could have been one of them, but I just couldn't get down with how she dealt with children and how she ran her ship or lack thereof, right? I feel like as an educator, you are a role model. You are supposed to be a safe adult and you're supposed to have common sense above all things, right? This girl right here, yeah, she didn't have none of that shit. She was an idiot, like point blank period, right? So I met this teacher while I was working at the Newark Charter School, and she was real cool. We had similar interests. She was basically telling me how she wanted to start her own dance thing as well because she had a dance background. She had moved from another state and she really needed this job, and this was the only thing that she could find that was willing to give her a position and some stable income. Like she didn't even have a home. Like she was literally living in an Airbnb. And she starts telling me about how she wants to be a content creator and how she really wants to, get her name out there, and she's just doing this for now, but then eventually she gonna start her own dance thing and she's gonna be an influencer, etc. So then obviously, and this is something I almost never do because I don't need the kids in my business. I rarely ever tell the kids or staff what I do unless I have to, or it like goes somewhat with the position that I'm taking on. But since it's dance, and at the time I wasn't posting that many dance videos, I just was like, oh, like I do social media, I could definitely help you out with that. And she's like, really? I put my usernames in her phone. She starts looking at my stuff. She's like, oh my God, like you're famous. I'm far from famous. I hate when people say that. I'm not a regular person either, right? But I'm a girl with some followers on a few platforms, all right? So she's like, oh my God, follow me. I'm like, I bet. Follow her. And she's like, oh my God, like, oh, could you put this on your story? Can you put this, can you share this? And I'm like, hit the PayPal, hit the Cash App. Like, what did you actually talk about? I don't post nothing for free unless you're my actual friend. I just met you. So you know what? She sat there. I can't really pinpoint exactly what she did, but I know she went on her story, tagged me so that I can repost it. And obviously I'm in school. At the time when we're having this conversation, she's in a classroom and then her students are also my students, right? The way this charter school worked, if you guys remember, I told you guys that those kids traveled in cohorts. It was not giving high school. It was giving very much middle school, very much elementary. So her students had just left. Her students that came to her class that she was substituting just came from mine. So I was really just there to make sure that they wasn't running them up because those kids was bad as fuck outside of my class. Like they were horrible. They were part of the reason a majority of the teachers and substitutes were quitting. That's how bad they were. So I was there just kind of like trying to help her watch them. She's trying to have these conversations and she's like, girl, like you not gonna share? Like I literally just tagged you on something. Can you share it? And I'm like, hit the PayPal, hit the Cash App. Like, what did you actually talking about? Like, I'm literally looking at her like, yeah. I mean, at that point, I was like, whatever. Let me just share it. It's whatever. But like in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, you give clout chase. You do too much. Like, no. By the time that I had met this girl, though, I was kind of on my way out. I was kind of just like planning my escape because at this point, it probably was only 3 of us fellows left. Like all the fellows quit every day. Somebody was quitting. Somebody was leaving. It was drama every single day. So I was telling her like, listen, I don't think I could take this shit anymore. anymore. Like, even at this point, that's when I started getting my sciatica symptoms. Like, my back started hurting, my legs started hurting. It was like nerve pain. I think it was a lot of it was the stress, but a lot of it was due to me dancing on concrete, which again, I highlighted in that series. It was a lot going on. And she was just like, nah, girl, like, you shouldn't leave because you could use these kids, you know, like, we could use them when we start our thing together. When did I ever say I was starting something with you? Now, this is the thing. I might have said that shit. I ain't even gonna hold you. My ADHD, BHD, and I'm more than likely probably was like, oh yeah, we can start something together in the future. Far future, bitch. Not tomorrow, not today, not the next day. Like, maybe far future once I get to know you. Now, see, that's my flaw. I'm very social. I'm not friendly, but I'm very social. And I just be saying shit sometimes. So I ain't gonna hold you. I more than likely probably was like, oh yeah, since you're into dance, I'm into dance, we could start something. So she took it as, oh, we could use these kids and have them in the program and we could really help them. Like, yo, fuck this school. We could start our own shit. You know, she started on that stuff and I'm like, I'm not about to stay somewhere that's toxic just so I could use the kids to my own advantage. I think that's absolute pure insanity. Listen, when I'm telling you that place was bad, it was bad. It was not worth staying there for any extra amount of time just so I could recruit these kids to my independent dance team. Like, it was so weird. And she kept saying that shit every day, every time. Like, girl, like, don't quit. Like, we could use them. Girl, don't quit. This could really be something to kick off what we trying to do. Girl, shut the fuck up because I'm going to get the kids regardless. Like, I'm going to get whatever kids are interested that I'm meant to teach independently regardless. All right. So I don't know about you, but honestly, just the way that she would communicate and the way that that whole situation happened with the, are you going to share my stuff? Like, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I was kind of like, but I kind of felt for her at the same time, right? Like I said, she wasn't from the area. She just moved there. As a matter of fact, she was actually like literally living in an Airbnb. So I felt for her. So a lot of times I would bring her home. She didn't live too far, but her taking the bus took a lot longer than her actually just getting a ride to where she was going, especially if me giving her a ride was like right near my house. There were other occasions in which she would vent and she would feel really bad about the position she was because she was a little bit older than me. So she felt like she was behind in life. So by no means did I hate the girl, but I stopped respecting her when she did this fucking bullshit, right? So obviously she was a substitute. And since she was a substitute, she would hop around from class to class. She ended up landing a position being a substitute for a class where the teacher was out long term. Now, the teacher that was out for medical reasons. And I also substituted the class before she got there a few times because these students were my students. I was familiar with them, so I knew they wouldn't run amok if they had work. The school knew that if they had work, I would administer it because they'll listen to me more than they will listen to a stranger. So I was subbing it for a while on my free classes, and I was so happy when I didn't have to substitute it on my free period anymore because, you know, that's when they brought her. So I didn't even name the girl, bro. Let me see. We just gonna name her, yeah, Miss Violet, right? So Miss Violet, you know, I met Miss Violet because she was substituting most of my students for another one of their classes. One day they told me I didn't have to sit in the class and I was so happy about it. But I was like, ooh, let me go see who the substitute is. Now, this is funny. In the beginning of my like teaching bout in schools and stuff, I was so friendly. I wanted to know who everyone was. Now I don't give a fuck. I go into the school, I speak to whoever speaks to me. If you don't speak to me, I don't give a fuck. Better for me. Like, especially after this situation. Oh my God. Especially after this situation, it was just like, yeah, I'm kind of done being friendly with people. And I completely understand why a lot of like teachers side eye substitutes, okay? A lot of people don't like different people in different sectors of their job, right? Like, for example, in the hospitals, you'll hear a lot of things about like RNs bullying the CNAs or doctors bullying nurses or whatever. It's a hierarchy, okay? Unfortunately, I don't agree with it. I don't think it's okay. The whole adult bullying thing is problematic. But one thing you need to know, especially working in a school or working as a teacher, is a lot of people do not like the substitutes. A lot of people look down on them. They think that they're lazy. They don't do shit. They really just be coming in there to do whatever. And in some cases, they're paid more than the teachers. If you minus the benefits and you go based off of the daily pay, especially if they're actually qualified substitutes, some of them actually do get paid more than some teachers, depending on the region, the company, qualifications, etc. So a lot of times teachers don't fuck with them. So personally, I always thought, I don't see why I don't like them. I don't see the big deal until I met this girl right here, okay? When I met Miss Violet, I was like, I understand why niggas don't fucking like y'all, right? So I would come in to sit in with Miss Violet often because I really thought she was cool. We had similar interests, aside from the fact that she kind of came off a little clout chasey, a little, social climby. I was like, yeah, I mean, she cool for what it is. And I didn't want my kids to eat her alive because that's what was happening. Everybody they brought in, they was literally pushing them out. So I would sit in there with her and I observed she wasn't giving the kids the work. Now, you guys are probably like, well, maybe the kids didn't want to. As a substitute, y'all be expecting too much. No. As a substitute, I expect you to facilitate the work that is given. That teacher left more than enough work for those kids to do. And they were all just worksheets. All the kids had to do was come in, grab a worksheet, do it, hand it in, go about their business, chill, etc. She wouldn't even try. She didn't even care. And she verbally said, I'm not about to sit here and argue with nobody's kids about doing no work. If they want to chill, they could just chill. This is their time to get a break. This is the beginning of the school year. At this point, it's like October-ish. School just started in like end of August into September. What break do these kids fucking need? Stop it. You just don't want to do your work. And this is the thing. As a substitute, I do not believe that substitutes should be out there giving lectures and doing lesson plans unless they are a long-term substitute that is being compensated fairly. However, if you are a substitute for a class and all you have to do is give a worksheet, give the fucking worksheet. Like I said, I was substituting the class. I gave the worksheets, no problem. Those kids were not really that bad when it came to her. And I know it because I was there and I witnessed it. I came in to talk to her and meet with her around the same time. Like, I think it was maybe the second day that she already had those kids. And she was sitting there like, oh, I'm not about to argue with nobody's kids, da, 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 da. I'm here with you. You can administer the work. If they try to give you any pushback, I will tell them. And that's what I said to her the first time she said that to me. I'm like, bro, just give them the work. Like, I'm right here. They're not going to give you no pushback, especially if I'm here with you. If anything, call the principal or whatever. And she's like, oh, nah, I'm not about to do all that. But you know what she was doing? She had no problem giving the kids her Instagram, her TikTok, whatever else, and just fraternizing with the kids. Now, this is the thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with creating a bond and creating relationships with students. Organic ones, safe ones. And you guys are probably like, Yvana, what do you mean? Well, Miss Violet was giving the kids her Instagram and TikTok, which, listen, as an educator, as somebody that works with kids, period, y'all already know that's a hell no. That's a no. Unless some way, somehow your job requires it. Maybe you're a media teacher. I don't know. Unless it's maybe if it's like 1,000% clean. In a general sense, I only give my former students, like when I'm leaving, when I'm going out the door, my social media handles so they can keep in contact. Because you're damn for sure not getting my number. All right? I could block your ass on Instagram or whatever, and Instagram is going to make sure if you make any new accounts that you still can't follow me. With the number, you can fuck around, make 10,000 different numbers and still contact and bother me. It's just a professional boundary that almost every single educator knows. Like, you don't follow your kids on social media, right? So she's giving it to them, and literally her OnlyFans links are in the bio of the Instagram and the TikTok. Additionally, her ass is out and almost all of her content. I'm not talking about she has 1,000 posts and you could probably pinpoint some of them here or there, and that wouldn't even make a difference because at the end of the day, you are supposed to be an educator, supposed to be a safe adult. This is weird behavior. Why the fuck are you following the kids? And then why the fuck are you giving them access to your account where your ass and titties are out? Literally, it's practically an OF marketing page. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, she claims that was her personal account, but I'm like, was it her personal account? Like, I personally don't know. I personally feel like if I'm gonna have a personal account, it's gonna be as clean as possible, and I'm gonna give my personal clean ass accounts to whoever I actually respect and don't want to see my ass out on the internet too. Like, so the kids would probably get my cleanest account, not the one where I'm literally ass shaking, titties out. Like, I think that's insane. And I'm not talking about like, she just had booty shorts and a tank top on. I'm talking about lingerie, full blown lingerie, booty, butt, all that, shaking, all of that, just out in the public, and she's giving the kids the handles. Now, when she's doing this, right, I personally was like, the thing is, I witnessed her conversing and talking about the Instagram and TikTok to the students, but I didn't really, people was on her account, even though I had followed her. Like, I didn't sit there and look for real, but I already had like looked at her and I called her out. I was like, girl, why are you giving these kids your Instagram and TikTok? She's like, girl, it's okay. Like, I'm trying to get these followers up. I said, yeah, nah, you already know that's a no-no. And then that's when I went back on her account, like when I was leaving the classroom, because it was like the end of the period I had a class. So I'm leaving the classroom, I'm looking at the account like, oh, hell no. And I text her like, girl, make sure that you're not giving these kids your account. There's a lot of things on there that the kids should not be privy to, that they should not be seeing. Like, this shit is mad inappropriate. I texted her that literally within seconds, okay? Literally, the kids start coming in for the next period, and the kids start coming in like, yo, miss. I'm like, what happened? Like, I'm thinking, because they used to love telling me the tea. They used to tell me, oh, such and such got shot down the block. Such and such was smoking on the block and got hit. Such was doing this, dealing drugs on the corner and got arrested. They would tell me all the tea. It was insanity. I see it as, you guys really think that this behavior is okay. This is standard for you guys. So you know what? I'm going to listen and I'm going to tell y'all this is not okay. This is not the life you want to live. So I'm thinking they about to tell me one of their hood stories. And they're like, you know that one of the teachers is in OnlyFans model? We got an OF teacher. Oh my God, Miss. Yeah, it's your friend, Miss Violet. There's a million things wrong with this. First of all, I told you to stop fucking giving these kids your Instagram and your TikTok. And now fast forward, this is what's happening. And now the kids are going around saying you're an OnlyFans model because you are. Second, don't associate me with this lady. Please don't. And then all you hear is the niggas in the background like, yeah, her ass fat. Her ass fat. Everybody's sitting there laughing. I'm like, nah, dead the conversation. All right, today's lesson, we're going to be going through ballet positions. They're like, oh, miss, but you should see the account, though. It's banging like her body teed. And I'm like, no, I don't want to hear it. Like, I'm just like, bro. And at the same time, I look at my phone to put it down before class to make sure nobody called me and there's no emergencies, because there was no announcements in this school. They didn't even have an intercom system. I went through all of the craziness that was going on in this school in that multi-part story time. So a lot of times we had to make sure we paid attention to these group chats to make sure nothing was going on. I go and I look and all I see her is texting me like, girl, like, I need to tell you, like, these kids going around talking about me. And I'm just looking at my phone like, let me put this shit down because you fucking dumb bitch. Like, you're so dumb. I was like, let me answer this later. Like, I can't. So I go about my day. I finish teaching these classes and she comes to my class during my second free period. And she's like, girl, why these kids going around saying I'm an OnlyFans model? They gonna get me fired. You should get fired. You're fucking bugging. Why would you do this? Now you guys are probably like, Yvana, did you report her? Indeed. Okay, I reported her to my dean, but I'm not sure. Nope. I went to the principal about the next dumb shit that she did, okay? Now, to add insult to injury, you guys would think that that was the worst thing she did. No, okay? After that, I told her about herself. I was like, listen, you're bugging. I told you not to be letting these kids follow you. That's problem number one. But then you have mad inappropriate shit on there. She's like, girl, I didn't think they was going to go around telling my business. This is high school. You work at a high school. Shit is going to travel around worse than if you were a student yourself as the teacher. Even if you're just a substitute, you're bugging. I already warned your ass. And she just literally sat there laughing like something was funny. I don't think it was funny at all. And then she proceeds to tell me how, girl, like, you know, a few days ago, like, she was like, yo, like, these kids really do be running their mouth. Like, and she starts going to this whole spew of how that generation is. This was a few years ago. I think these might have been kids on the tail end of Gen Z or treading into Gen Alpha. I really don't remember. But she's like, oh, this new generation, like, they don't really be knowing what they doing. And they just always running their mouth. Like, they just so dumb. Like, why one of the girls gonna come in here telling me that basically one of the kids is bringing a glizzy to school? And, you know, I immediately stopped. I said, excuse me? Mind you, I already spoke at length about how that school had zero safety precautions. And that week, I don't know if it was that week or the prior week, a kid had tried to bring a glizzy to school. They didn't tell none of the staff. They tried to conceal the fact. And I believe we found out about it on the news. They found it during admissions, like literally while they were searching the kid's bag. So, bitch, I'm not playing with y'all. My mom got one child. Okay, so what do you mean? Like, I'm like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, like one of the girls told me that one of the boys is bringing a glizzy to school next week. They be hiding the glizzies in the bushes. She's laughing. She thinks this entire thing is funny because for her, oh, these kids are so dumb. Why they keep snitching on each other and telling all their business and telling other people's business. And I'm just looking at her like, did you report this? No, I'm not about to sit there and tell these kids business like that. Bitch, I'm not trying to die. I literally went to the principal immediately. If y'all don't already know, I'm a Karen. That's not even being a Karen. That's just me doing my fucking job, doing my due diligence and protecting all of us. Because excuse me, like what? I went to go tell the principal immediately. Like, yo, Miss Violet told me that the kids told her that such and such is bringing a glizzy to school next week. And he's like, what? Why didn't she tell one of us this? I said, I don't know. And then that's when I proceeded to tell him everything. He was like, oh yeah, absolutely not. Do you think they fired her? Probably not. Because from what I understand, she stayed there after I left. Okay. I didn't keep in contact with her. And the reason being is because I started my own shit. I started promoting it, and I think that she got mad about it, and that's why she stopped talking to me. And personally, I just never looked for her after that, because you're an unsafe adult, and I completely see what type of person you are. I'm not starting shit with you. I wouldn't hire you. I wouldn't have you near any fucking kids. Okay, because excuse me, like that was my third deal. First it was you being a little clout chasey, then it was you giving your social media handles, and then now you trying to conceal the fact that a kid is bringing a glizzy to the school. Like, what the type of shit? No. Absolutely not. Like, completely unsafe adult. I genuinely was not jacking it. I personally, I don't know if she stayed there. I could probably contact one of the kids that had graduated. I just asked them, like, yo, did she stay? Like, what happened to her? I doubt that she would have, because after that, they probably would have saw grounds to get rid of her. But also, they didn't like her. Like, a lot of the admin, my dean and stuff, they didn't like her. And I remember I used to be like, listen, even though she would sit there and be like, oh, don't quit, we could start our stuff with these kids, etc. I was like, if I quit, it would probably be good for you. You could just get my position. It wouldn't be that hard. It wouldn't be really filling a void or anything like that. Like, you'll probably get to get my position, get your feet wet or whatever, and it'd be great. She wanted to start her dance. She had dance experience, and she wanted to start a dance thing, but she didn't have much dance experience, if that made sense. Like, whether it was teaching or dancing, and I hate to be that person. I'm never that type of person. Like, I promise y'all, because y'all already know I've done so many of these story times. You've never seen me say this about any other educator, especially if it's somebody like that's in my line of work. I've seen her dance videos. It wasn't giving, I want to be a dance teacher, I want to have my own dance thing. It was giving novice at best. And then there was times she substituted my class, and she had the kids doing just dance. Instead of taking the opportunity to be like, okay, I'm a dance teacher, I'm into dance, I want to start my own thing, let me start practicing, let me start teaching these kids something. She would be doing just dance on YouTube with these kids. And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that. I did that all the time when I didn't feel like teaching. I did that all the time when we would have free time after I'm done with my lesson plan. She would do it every single time. She never took the opportunity to teach the kids new stretches or anything. And I remember there was one time I even gave her the opportunity during my class, like, hey, come teach the kids something. And she was like, what's this called again? What position is this? What's this stretch called? And I'm like, oh, nah, bitch, you definitely can't be teaching with me. Like, that was a telltale sign that, yeah, you probably need a little bit more work. And that's part of the reason I kind of let her teach the kids, well, tried to let her teach the kids something. And she could not do it. She could not do it at all. And I remember at one point, she was like, this is why I need you. You know, this is why I need you to help me teach or whatever, because I don't be knowing the terms and stuff. As a teacher, you need to learn the terms. And this is the thing, I don't even know all the terms, but I know a good majority because I sat there and I learned them. Gaining that knowledge over the years, especially when I didn't have the knowledge. I just was a dancer, right? I was just teaching things here and there. I took that time and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna learn first, second, third, fourth, fifth position, hands, arms, all that. I'm gonna learn facilitation, textures, and dynamics. If y'all know the reference from textures and if you guys know what I'm referencing when I say textures and dynamics, comment down below. But it's just like, yeah, I took the time to learn because it really don't take that much to learn. It don't take that much time to actually put your heart and will into something. Like, that's something that you truly want to do. So long story short, I don't know what happened to the girl. She was dangerous. And honestly, the moral of the story is be very careful where you put your kids, especially if they're in a charter school, because a lot of times they let NT1 teach these kids. In a general sense, a lot of the time they let a lot of adults into these buildings without doing thorough background checks, without checking social media, and without actually vetting if these people should be allowed to work with children. Period. There's too many stories that I have with people being legitimately unsafe adults, and it's actually terrifying because it's like, did you guys really vet these people? And even if they did, there's a lot of people that don't end up showing their true colors until they start working with kids. So be very careful, be involved as a parent or someone that has kids in their life. Make sure you go find out who these teachers are. Make sure you look them up. Make sure you have conversations with them. Make sure you actually feel like they are a safe adult, because a lot of these adults are unsafe, and now they're making it into these schools. There was another situation where there was another teacher where they were trying to say that he was flirting with students. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he got fired right before I quit. Like I said, be careful. Be an active parent. If you don't have time to have kids, don't fucking have them. I'm so sorry. I really don't understand why people like to use the whole excuse of, oh, well, people be working and people have things to do. Don't have kids if you don't have the time to actually properly parent them and be involved fully in everything that they do. And that includes vetting these teachers, admin, etc. yourself. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the story time, and I hope you took something from it. If you guys made it to the end of this video, just comment down a heart emoji so I know you made it to the end of this video. Also, for those of you guys interested, I have a close family friend that's going through a hard time right now. She lost her mother and her 8-year-old niece in a fatal house fire recently this past weekend when I'm filming this. But the family truly needs support. They're starting over again. The insurance money is not going to kick in for a little bit. And since I was on the scene, I was super duper distraught. I'm still not really doing well. But honestly, one of the only ways I cope with things is working. I don't think it's healthy, but it's something to do other than sitting here crying all day, like I've done for a few days now. But nonetheless, if you guys would like to support, I will try to make sure it is in the links right here through the QR code on the screen. If it is not there, it is more than likely in the description and or pinned comment. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for always supporting me and supporting anything that I post, because you guys make a lot of things worth it. If you guys are interested, if I'm not posting here, y'all already know I'm posting on my other channels. We have a Haitian channel where I do Haitian-based content, a main channel where I do Black and social issues-based content. If this is something you are interested in supporting, please make sure you guys go check it out down below, or again, in this lovely QR code. Follow me on Instagram for dance content. Make sure you guys check out LakayRo if you're interested in volunteering, donating, or putting your child in any of my classes or coming to any classes yourself. I do adult classes. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. I love you guys so very much, and I'm going to see y'all next time. Bye.